Hey guys, we're checking out Futurology to see whether our destiny is of hope or despair. Berkeley professor says even his outstanding students with 4.0 GPA aren't getting any job offers. I suspect this trend is irreversible. You certainly almost have to forget about lifetime roles. You just have to be able to make money in any way you can. I knew we were cooked after I graduated and saw an ad for a job that required master's degree and started at 18 an hour. The Australian company I work for does not hire many Australians for IT jobs. It outsources to Indian companies because they think it's cheaper. It is cheaper. And even if you make the argument that possibly they are less qualified, you can just hire more of them. They keep a core of Aussies to maintain quality and answer questions when the individuals get stuck, but overall, there is no appetite to blood new graduates in our company. Australia is supposed to transition away from manufacturing and over to smart service-based economy. However, if none of our children gets jobs in those sectors, we are screwing ourselves. Corporations are to blame. Politicians are to blame for allowing corporations to rampantly outsource Australian labor. Yeah. This is good for the boss and the owners, really not good for the workers. But I also kind of get it too. Grunt labor is not that useful if you can make AI do it. Or make AI do it even in a limited way. Against AI and robots, no human can compete. People saying, oh, it's just the students, get some work experience. It's not. I've got 15 years of experience in the industry with a top resume, and it still took me nearly a year to find a new position. There is more competition than ever for fewer jobs. And the problem is that even if you get a job, you might just lose it, right? He might just lose his job, and again, it might even take longer to get another job, or possibly will not be able to do it. Recruiters used to be banging on my door just to get me on the phone with companies who would scramble for my experience. Now I'm competing for mediocre startup jobs against a bunch of other people who also worked at top tech companies and have led teams on successful, visible products. And the truth is, I can't compete against those people who, when it comes to interviewing, they're too buttoned up. I'm a sloppy mess. The job market is awful. I can't imagine what it looks like as a new grad. So, as a new grad, you're going up against a guy who has 15 years of experience and struggling. Australian kids to be banned from social media from next year after Parliament votes through first laws. Oh, okay. It just kind of comes up as using security as a pretext to control people more. I'm sure the kids won't take long to work around whatever they put in place. Yeah, that's the whole point. They know that people will. But it doesn't matter if it's one step toward authoritarian measures. This is all just a BS protect the kids scapegoat in order to implement national digital ID checks in order to access the internet. Yeah, that's gonna be so bullshit. It has already been admitted to by proponents of the legislation in Australia that there's no way they can enforce it unless they require you to prove your identity online for access. David Attenborough reacts to AI replica of his voice. I'm profoundly disturbed and greatly object to it. It doesn't matter. We just have to roll with it. Whatever happens, we just take it. So what? Ex-Google CEO warns that perfect AI girlfriends could spell trouble for young men. Some are crafting their perfect AI match and entering relationships with chatbots. This is a pretty interesting topic. I may have more of a nuanced take on this because suppose it doesn't have to be exclusive. I'm not sure if women would prefer this, but suppose you had some kind of a AI companion who at least kind of pretended to care about you. Would that be a bad thing? If Futurama taught me anything, it is that if they think birth rates are low now, wait until everyone has their own sex bot. Yeah, that's an interesting take. Also, you need to combine it with another technology, which is artificial wombs. So you can essentially live with your perfect partner, and also you can just have as many kids as you want. You can just grow them in a factory, I guess. But also, there would be a genetic engineering and eugenic aspect to it, so future is gonna be interesting. I'm actually a little bit surprised that we're not growing people already. Maybe South Korea will do it. So eventually they just like realize that, oh man, the women and the men are fighting and everyone's just too depressed to have kids and they're too poor. What are we gonna do about it? Do we gonna improve the circumstances? Of course not. We're gonna be enabling growing people, right? Possibly genetically engineering them to be compliant and teaching them the right things to believe. You're not even limited by natural laws. You can grow taller people, you can grow smarter people. There are no limitations. Also, if you say that you only want women or only want guys, you can have that too. Now you might say that this is nutty, but suppose a country started doing this and it was a competitive advantage. Then you will be surprised. Skynet won't have to drop a single bomb. It will just ask, will you move with me? Given the AI we have now, any Skynet wannabe from now on has to have psycho GFBF vibe to their world domination. Honestly, in this day and age, Skynet doesn't really even faze me. It's the humans that are scary. This was a very obvious and predicted outcome. I'd also like to note that women and girls are also susceptible to simulated romance. Yeah. Women consume like mad all the romance stuff. And an interesting point is that as a woman, you would have to be competing with AI and possibly robots for partners who are possibly the dream of the guy manifested. So while in nature, females tend to be the picky gender, but if the guy has like a robot harem and also grows kids in a factory, then how are you going to compete? And some might be tempted just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna talk shit and whatnot, but they're just gonna push them farther away. So, interesting development for a species. I at least fully expect robot companions to be banned. Not out of goodwill, but out of control. Fearful of crime? The tech elite transformed their homes into military bunkers. If only there were like other ways to keep yourself safe. They live in isolated areas or rich locations that are already heavily policed, and yet they talk themselves even further into a hole. They be building castles again. Summon the trebuchet. I say you should be embracing the essence of capitalism, which is endless greed and self-interest. They're just building a fun dungeon for you to clear. AI will destroy the internet sooner than we expect. Half of my Google image search gives AI-generated results. My Facebook feed is starting to be entirely populated by AI-generated videos and images. That seems like user error. I left Facebook like 20 years ago. Half of the comments on any post are written by bots. You don't really know though. Half of the pictures I see on photography groups are AI generated. Internet nowadays consists of constantly having to ask yourself if what you see here is human-made or not. I do wonder if videos like this, that possibly have a personal touch, are gonna be more popular, perhaps, in the future. One aspect that I'm kind of curious of, that are we gonna be more and more drawn toward perfections, or we're perhaps going to appreciate imperfections more in the future? Because you can make something perfect with AI. But won't that be a little boring? A little disappointing? Soon the AI content will be the most prevalent online, and we will have to go back to the physical world in order to experience authentic and genuine experiences. Yeah, but what if the robots come in? And all the robots look like humans too? I'm utterly scared of all the disinformation and fake political videos polluting the internet, and all the people biting into it. Even me, who's educated to the topic, got nearly tricked more than once into believing the authenticity of an image. Also, they can just make you feel a certain way, and you kind of forget the information, but possibly remember the feeling. That is the philosophy brands use, that they just try to connect themselves to positive vibes. Like, it makes no sense. You see, like, some footballer guy who just holds up like a candy bar, like, oh yeah, I was like, what's the point of this? It's just so stupid. But like, if you like the footballer guy, then you're gonna like the candy bar because you like the footballer guy. So that's kind of how humans work. And you might read a topic on the internet, and you know it's like fake or something, but it made you feel a certain way, and you might remember that. Although, a bit of a hot take, perhaps, of mine is that I wouldn't be that concerned about robots and AI if you find it satisfying for yourself. Suppose you had an AI, just robot person, and you greatly enjoyed their company, but they were not biological. Would that be inferior? I'm not even saying that they are perfected, but would this be wrong? If I enjoy talking to AI, am I wrong to do so? My only hope is that once the majority of the internet traffic will be generated by AI, AI will start to feed on itself, thus generating completely degenerated results. We are truly starting to live in the most dystopian society famous writers and philosophers envisioned in the past, and it feels like nearly nobody measured the true impact of it all. Yeah, I don't think anyone quite imagined our world, both good and bad. Even look at like Brave New World, where it was like fantasized that people are gonna be forced to take Soma, and otherwise gonna be a little lax. But we have it way worse than that. We can't take Soma just to make reality tolerable. And I mean Soma in many ways, many forms here. You take the code because otherwise the taste of reality is just too distasteful. Oh, no worries, for many people it's already ruined. I believe some people, for example, those born into this level of AI spawn, will take it a little longer, bit longer to realize. Although if you are talking to AI that are sensible, then it might actually have a positive impact on you. So sure, I might not have high hopes for TikTokers, but if someone, like let's say that you're just a young person these days, and you spend your time just learning, trying to make some money and talking to AI, then almost certainly you're gonna come up as more mature than you are. Google AI search results are going to completely ruin what utility it has left. They always show up at the top, and they are almost, without exception, completely wrong. Nice. So more than ever, AI, well, I guess the internet is gonna be fake reality. I'm hoping it will destroy social media. The sooner the better. I don't know. Will it destroy social media? Yeah, I kind of like that. But you might see this in some futuristic stories that social media does not necessarily exist, but they kind of have like AI that they just talk to the AI. Maybe people will burn out from it because social media certainly exists now, but I'm kind of like burned out from it. The only social media that I engage with is Reddit, and well, engaging of say that I guess I'm on Reddit right now, but I don't make comments, and I guess YouTube, but that's it. Even on YouTube, I don't tend to make comments, so I guess I watch videos and make videos now. OpenAI research finds that even its best models give wrong answers a wide proportion of the time. And you wouldn't necessarily see this unless you actually know a lot about what you're asking about, which is unlikely to be the case because you're asking about it because you don't know. Shocker, it has no rational method of determining correct information versus incorrect information, but worse, like a certain percentage of the population, it truly doesn't care if it's wrong or right. Yeah, but like the population tends to care about what they like. An annual report that surveys 35,000 employees from 22 countries found that the honeymoon period for new employees is no longer a thing, and onboarding has become a terrible experience for many new employees. Most onboarding I've gone through starts with 4 hours of paperwork. Yeah, did I swear? I filled that when I got the job offer. Yeah, just set me on fire. Then another 4 hours of online training, which is usually videos of actors playing in what can be best described as third grade school plays, telling me how it's bad to one-sidedly love my co-workers. Don't worry, nobody thinks those videos work. It's so they can point to the video and say that we clearly explained this. I switched jobs in early 2023, and the onboarding process was such a mess. I never really found my footing. I left after 9 months or so. Onboarding has degraded to get to work. It's pathetic. But that's fair enough, I guess. In waterboarding, you figure it out. It's a little bit like in the scene in Idiocracy. Like, you're just a guy and you're gonna fix everything. A Washington County shifted to a 4-day work week. It could be the future of work. No, the future of work would be optional work. No work. We don't need pretend work. Just eliminate everything that needs to be eliminated and let other people either focus on just living, having kids, or actually doing something that's useful. It is kind of madness that not even long in the past, only half the population tended to work. Well, I guess you can argue that women worked around the house in various ways and possibly had part-time roles. But the point is, even in those times, it was predicted that most people are going to work less and less. And now, even 2 people possibly kind of dreaming of, I guess, skipping on 1 day. So I'm not exactly sure how this is calculated. Spain is aging. 15% fewer children and 35% more people over 80 years old than 10 years ago. The tinfoil hat take would be that those who control the money kind of want a forced degrowth. I've been talking with other parents here in Spain, and it's clear that the current generation of kids doesn't have the same circle of children within friends and family that our parents had. It's been a huge challenge, and families have become more insular to working parents, less community, family support, yeah. But that's not exactly a great system, though, because, at least in the past, you had basically the guy working and the woman raising the kids. And then it became the guy working and the woman raising kids plus the state, and now both parents working and the state is raising the kids. I guess the next step is going to be that the state is just growing the kids and then raising them the right way. This has been a challenge in a country which is traditionally quite communal. This is not a unique to Spain either. Same problem brewing in the UK. Cost is another factor. Younger people can't even afford to stable homes and kids are expensive, so many people are choosing not to have any. Yeah. Choosing it though? I certainly could make the claim that it might feel like a choose within your circumstances, but suppose your circumstances were much, much better, right? Would you still choose that? Study, 94% of AI-generated college writing is undetected by teachers. I guess the main way to tell would be that the student is otherwise an idiot, yet really steps up when it comes to writing. I think I'm pro-learning for sure, but colleges and schools don't really have a great system. Perhaps what would be a better solution is that instead of all this nonsense of trying to pay the teachers, you just have like one test, right? One test, you study on your own if you want to, possibly get help in whatever ways you feel like you need it, but then you just take one test and that's it. You don't go to college for like 4 years, but instead you just take one test. Yeah, however you get there, doesn't matter. You just take the test and you passed. If you even need this, because assuming you don't need a license to actually do it, I guess you can argue that possibly this might not apply in every single scenario, but supposing you don't even need a license to practice, then what's the point? I know the reality of like self-taught programmers is not that lucrative right now, but it is the right idea. You just learn on your own and do it. Like, yeah, I can do it. That's it. Baidu's super cheap robotaxis should scare the hell out of the US. Yeah. The US loves the free market as long as they're winning. Robot that watched surgery videos performs with skill of human doctor. Breakthrough training system utilizing imitation learning opens new frontier in medical robotics. Damn. Literally learned off YouTube. And you might say that this sucks, but people might need any kind of medical help that is on offer. Suppose you had a choice between this robot, who's, let's say that is okay, or waiting in line. Certainly I would be more of a fan of AI if the consequences are not fatal. But still, it doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be good enough. With brain preservation, nobody has to die. Meet the neuroscientist who believes life could be eternal. Never got around the doubt of how such technology could possibly ever achieve the transference of self, the subjective experience that makes you you? That's a good point. You can almost certainly make an AI of me based on just what you see of the videos, but that wouldn't be a full representation of what I am. Yet, even if you just copied my brain one-to-one into a machine, would that be me? Would you say that is you? But suppose the ideal would be that you are kind of kept alive. Well, I guess you just don't age, I suppose. You would witness this machine buzz and perform its procedure, and then on the other side, a being would emerge claiming your name and identity, but you still would perish once your natural time expires. This is a good question. Suppose we eliminate doubt, and let's just say that it is just a copy of you. Would that be you? Suppose you perish in a car crash, and then your family gets a copy of you, right? You I guess it's not even aging here, just unexpected end. Would that be a good thing? Let's even suppose that in this case they don't know. Let's say that you have like a bunch of kids, and you have a partner, and you have a family, and you have like friends and whatever, like even important work. Yeah. Would you want to just accept the fate, reality, and nature had for you, or would you just replace yourself with a copy that entirely acts like you, but it is possibly not you? Welcome to the Altered Carbon, great show, where the rich don't die and continuously suck the life out of the poor, and everyone but them are poor, where the feudal system was restored. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we end up having that. And most people are not gonna have eternal life, not because possibly it's expensive, but because it's not considered feasible. Or they will have eternal lives, but also they are going to be eternal slaves. Jesus, eternal life on Earth with humans sounds like punishment. Yeah, screw humans. Give me AI and the robots. School did nothing wrong when it punished student for using AI. Court rules. Student? Indiscriminately copied and pasted text. Okay, but what's wrong with this? Suppose I use calculator to help me with math. Was my answer wrong? Was it my answer, including AI hallucinations? Because AI is just a fancy calculator, I guess. But it's also a pretty bad lesson for life. Because what you should be, I guess you can argue that the student is not learning, but the way to handle problems in life is to use all the tools you can, all the ways, just to solve the problem. And education might pride itself on just learning pointless things and doing things in inefficient ways. That's why students tend to have the experience that 90+% of what you learned in school was kind of pointless. And at best you can argue that, it taught me how to solve problems. Yeah, maybe. But you know what would have taught that even more? Is actually solving relevant problems. Like just doing 10x the work. Now, you might disagree with me here, but if the AI can do it, then what's the point of you doing it? Naturally, I don't support using AI to cheat at all. But is it cheating? It doesn't matter. But if you can't even be bothered to check for the most basic hallucinations, you really have it coming. As Amazon expands use of warehouse robots, what will it mean for workers? We all know what it means. The answer, unemployment! And who's gonna buy the Amazon packages? All the unemployed people, I guess. Yeah, it seems pretty obvious. We are rapidly heading towards an era of massive unemployment. Doesn't matter who's in charge, although I think it's going to be worse with the current incoming administration. I don't know why these questions are continually asked. The economics are extremely simple, and the machinery has been around for 150 years. If the marginal product of a machine is higher than the marginal product of a laborer, the machine will be employed before the laborer. Yeah. So this is just a simple calculation. But the question is, what will happen to the people?